sure you guys read the title, and if you haven't, please do that. But today I'm going to be talking about my failed penetration tester interview. But before I can talk about what happened, I obviously have to take it back a little so you guys know like the context and things like that. So this was around the summer of 2022. I had just gotten my first internship. I had just gotten my Security Plus. So you know me, I'm feeling on top of the world. Everything's going right. And I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about what's going to happen when I start going back to school, when this internship ends. How am I going to continue to provide for myself and things like that? And so I thought obviously the next best step would be to apply for a part-time position for the fall. Obviously this position would be amazing for me because first I would have a job, you know, I could brag about that a little bit. Second, I'd have another form of income so that I won't be like the regular college student scraping by with pennies and things like that. And third was for the experience because the job that I applied for was a really good one, but I'm gonna get into even how I applied for that one and everything. But like I was saying, I was living my happy-go-lucky life, enjoying the internship I had, the Security Plus I just got, and you know, I guess this was just a chance for life to knock me on the top of the head and be like, calm down, you're not him, buddy, you know? So let me get into how or the types of job that I was looking for. First, I didn't want just any regular type of job. I wanted a job that would push me forward in my future. I've worked a few positions in my lifetime, but most of them have not been related to information technology at all. They've just been a way to keep money coming for myself. So with this one, I wanted it to be different as I gain experience. In my head, this next job was basically gonna lay the foundation for what I would do for the rest of my career. Obviously that wasn't true, but that was the thought process I had going into it. So like I said at the time, I'm working an internship. So after I'm done with that day, I went online to look for a whole bunch of jobs to apply for. So when it came to the search, I was looking up things like penetration tester, network engineer, red team engineer, and I'm pretty sure security analyst as well. So basically I was looking for anything related to the cybersecurity field, whether it be offensive or defensive. Even though I said I had a big head, I wasn't completely taken aback. I knew that I could only qualify for entry-level jobs, so that's what I was looking for. Not only that, but like I said, I was going into my next semester of college, so what I was trying to do was get a part-time position. I could not work full-time because the way I do school, I overload myself with classes, so I couldn't do full-time position no matter what I wanted. And finally, if possible, I wanted a job in my local area. I know remote jobs have gone crazy now, but I felt like I could get a better experience on an in-person one, so that was what I was looking for. Now, for those of you that know the nature of job searches, obviously as you add more filters, the jobs drop and drop. So as I continued to add the filters onto my, I got a little scared because at some point the numbers dropped to 5. For y'all that do not know, the number pretty much started at about 3,000, so to have about 5 left over, that's pretty scary. Now, out of the 5 positions that remained, there was one that stood out to me. Why, you may ask? It literally met all of the requirements. It was pretty much a dream job that I wanted. I looked through all of them. It was in my area. It was part-time. What else did I say? It just had everything that I was looking for. Oh, it was also a junior penetration testing role. Obviously, the other roles are amazing. Security analyst, network engineer. But like I said, I'm trying to hack.
What do you mean by that?
So I want to be on the penetration testing side. So not only did I apply for that, but I applied for the rest of the 5 too. Now, this is just to broaden the scope because obviously you can't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's a tip that you guys need to take because do not put your hopes in just one job. But with that, I just waited and waited and waited. Okay, this is a little tangent to the side, but I realized that some jobs do not care about who applies to them. I remember that one of the jobs that I applied to during this summer, they literally messaged me back about a year later about the opportunity and how I got rejected. Well, I obviously implied that it was a year later, but back to what I was saying. I hadn't heard back from any of these companies in a while, but I'll be honest, I wasn't really stressing or anything because I still had my old internship. I still had my life going on. Like I said, good things. It was that was an amazing summer for me. But I do remember on one specific day during my internship, I got a phone call. Now, I know a lot of people don't pick up random phone calls, but I most definitely do for these specific reasons. So I pick up the phone, I answer it. At first I didn't think it was too major, so I answered it where I was. Then they told me it was the job that I applied for. That was the one that I wanted above the other 5. So I quickly got up, ran to the break area, and then just got on the phone. There, they had a mini interview with me. They asked me certain things just to make sure that I wasn't lying on my resume. They asked me, okay, tell me a little bit about the field you're working in so that we know that you're legit. Now, in my mind, this was the actual interview. So I locked in and marketed myself as best as I could. I told them everything that I obtained, some of the classes I took, all the experiences I had. I really thought I was just that guy. But they did let me know that I had continued on to the next stages of the interview. So while we were there, we went ahead and scheduled a time to meet for the second interview. They had let me know that they were just I believe it was the recruiter. So they let me know that this next stage of interview would involve the people that I would actually be working under and the person that actually founded the company itself. Now, it was at this point that I was like, I got it locked in. Because like I said, I was just feeling different. I was feeling like if they didn't pick me, they made the wrong choice, honestly speaking. But moving on from there, I did the things that you should do when you get an interview with any company. You go ahead and research the history of the company, go ahead and see what their values are, see some of the employees, some of the things that they do, so that you can make sure that you're ready to ask any interview questions. Make sure that you have questions. I just said that. Make sure you have questions for them. Make sure that you're ready to answer any questions that they might ask you about their own company, and make sure that you just have a general knowledge of what that company does. If you don't, you're just going in a little bit blind. Another thing that caught my attention during the phone interview was that they said that I would meet with the CEO of that company. Now, this is important because in the future, I plan on owning my own cybersecurity firm too. It might start out as a penetration testing company, but in the end, I intend to grow it to a cybersecurity firm. So hearing that got me more excited for the interview. I was really excited to talk to the people, get to know their experiences, and try to grow from there. So from that point on, I literally just waited excitedly until I got to the next stage of the interview. All right, and now the day had come. With interviews, no matter what, I always stress to impress. So going into my internship, because the interview was basically going to take place during the lunch break of my internship, I had on a full-blown suit. I think I had a bow tie on because at the time I didn't have a regular tie. A bow tie. I'm just fully dressed out. And then, gotta hit them with the signature grin too, because no matter what, if you smile, people are gonna say you look better, you look happier, and you're more approachable that way, honestly. With all this, I'm thinking I'm prepared. I'm about to secure my job for the next 6 months. Ooh, how wrong I was. So now let's actually get into what happened during the interview. This is obviously gonna embarrass me a little because looking back on it, it's a little cringy. But it started off as an interview between 3 people. Like I said, the CEO was there and 2 other people were there, and those would be the 2 people I'll be working under if I got hired. Now, before we began the interview, we obviously began with introductions. They began with introducing themselves and what they did outside of work. So for me, the guy that's trying to get the job, my mindset was, I'll just follow their lead. So I started talking about the things that I did outside of the field of cybersecurity, how I like to run, I like to work out, I like hanging out with family and friends, things like that. And they all seemed a little annoyed. So from there, the conversation moved from our introductions into my background in cybersecurity. Honestly speaking, if I was looking, that should have been a red flag right there. It just seemed like they weren't picking up what I was laying down, but let me continue. From that point on, I was asked some general questions. Now with general questions, they're usually like, how would you react in this situation? What would you do if this were to happen? Those types of questions are the questions I prepared for. So those weren't really too much of a problem for me. What was a problem was really what came next. To put simply, we just had a technical assessment, bro. Okay, I say that because with every other internship I had applied to, we had never done technical assessments. Most of what they focused on was who your character was, what you did, and the grit and determination that you showed while you're doing the interview. So this part completely took me off guard. Obviously, as a hiring company, it makes sense that you want to test the knowledge of the person you're hiring to make sure that they can actually do the job. But me back then was not thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? like I said, this technical assessment was a surprise to me, but I was still feeling okay. I thought I could handle it because it wasn't like I had lied on my resume. It wasn't like I hadn't done the things I said I had done. So I was like, okay, bring it on. Let's see what you got for me. But that is where I was wrong. I was not prepared. To put simply, I completely botched this part of the interview. This will permanently have a mental scar on me. Just remembering some of the things I said, remembering how dumb it sounded in the moment and how nervous I was. All that confidence and swagger I had when I first entered the interview went out the window after that. So they were asking questions based off of what was on my resume, which makes sense. But the way I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, for the recent few months, I had been studying for the Security Plus. I've had some practices with some different attacks in the past, and that's what I put on the resume. However, I wasn't consistently going back and studying those things. So the things I put on my resume, to put simply, were a little outdated. I had put that I knew about SQL injections, I knew about cross-site scripting, I knew how to use burp. I'm not sure if I put I put Linux on there. I said I knew how to use Linux. And it's not wrong that I had used all these things in the past and had a good feel for them. But to say that I knew how to use them, I guess that was a little bit of a drag. So one day it started asking me questions. I had frozen like a deer in headlights. Now, one of the questions that they asked me was a pretty simple one, but I did not remember in that time frame because it hadn't been something I studied in a while. They asked me what were the 3 different types of cross-site scripting. So I remembered stored, and that was it. I was trying my best to think through the rest. I thought the best case scenario would be to admit that I didn't know it and then ask them for the answer properly. When I did that, the look of disappointment on all these people's faces really hurt. It hurt, man. But I understood why they would be feeling that way. Because let's look at this as an outsider looking in. Here comes a random guy saying he can do all these things, and we're willing to give him a chance. He comes in here and cannot answer things that are basic. How would you be feeling? Better example. Say you got a painter for your house. They say they can paint all of this. You bring them to your house to paint, and the paint work is terrible. Obviously you'd be upset. So now thinking about it, I understand why they would feel that way. But back then, I was just like,
I'm a scared kid. Please give me a chance.
But, man, looking back at it is terrible. Bro, I remember one of the questions they asked me, bro, it still embarrasses me to this day. They asked me about Nmap. Now, for those of you that don't know, Nmap is a port scanner to basically test if any services are available on a specific device. I had used Nmap before, but I had never fully grasped what it was or how it worked. So they asked me what Nmap was, right? So out of all the list of vocabulary that I had listed out in my head, I believe I said Nmap was something that helped to scan materials on different computers. Now, this guy set me up like crazy. He was like, oh, so like a port analyzer. This is one of the people interviewing me. So me being dumb, I was like, yeah, like a port analyzer. Oh man, I felt so dumb. Because it was a port scanner. This man made me look idiotic. Wait, it wasn't a port. What was it? It wasn't a port analyzer. I think he said it was like a proxy server, right? And I was like, that sounds about right. And I was like, yeah. I said it with such confidence too. So, bro, I'm making myself look bad. It's just awful. And especially once you look back at it, once you have a little bit more of experience. Oh man. It can make you cry in the bed with a bucket of ice cream. It's pretty sad, man. Now, I don't know how it is for everybody else, but after I left that interview, I felt awful, but I still had a little bit of hope because they were looking for entry level. I showed I was behind entry level. Maybe they'll just invest a little bit of time into me to help me to build up to that level. So me, being as naive as I am, I held onto that hope, waiting and waiting to get a letter back from them. And once I get a letter back from them, it says that I've been rejected. I thought we made it, Ma. We didn't make it, man. I couldn't do it. Now, with that great disappointment for me, I was hurt. I was so hurt. Not because of anything the interviewers did, but I started to highly doubt my own knowledge. I was like,
don't you know how to use these things, man? Weren't you the one that put this down? Didn't you practice this, and this? And when it comes to crunch time, you just fall off?
It really makes you doubt all those times you spent studying, all those times you spent separated to learn more. And it really hurts because this is something that you've been building up to. However, instead of taking it, well, no, I took it as that for like a few days, maybe a week or two. But after that, I decided to look at it as an opportunity to grow. That interview pretty much showed me my weaknesses. I had a lot of head knowledge, but not enough hands-on application to where I could remember those things. Like I said, I had touched Nmap before, I had used it a few times, but never had I used it as constantly as I do now. I had used Linux before, but never had I opened Linux daily to use it as I do now. So it pretty much was a teaching moment for me. First, to stay humble, because you never know what's gonna humble you. Second, to continuously study in this field, because those few months that I didn't study that material, I didn't think I would lack that much knowledge. Like the the cross-site scripting question. Now I remember it because I've had a lot more training in it. And if I were able to answer it better then, that would have been great, but we can't change the past. But pretty much that hurt. Pushed me to study in a different way. Not only did I get the knowledge that I needed, but right after I got the knowledge, I looked for a practical way to apply it so that I could remember it from that time on. So that in case someone asks me, what does this do? I can give you a full paper about what it does. I can write a full paper about what it doesn't do. And then, I don't know, any modifications I can do to change up the results that I get. That is the level that I'm working on getting to. But you guys know what they say about tough times. Tough times make tough people. And that tough experience helped me to grow so much more than I even realized in the beginning. That experience in itself was the reason I even joined my offensive security club, because at the time I thought, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at what I do, even though I knew nothing. That experience is what helped me to go out and do more CTFs and challenges, because I realized this field wasn't just sweet. I had to put in the work. I had to get up to the level that I seen other people around me get up to. Because there are people in my grade that were able to easily answer those questions, easily be able to do those things that I could not. So I had to step up, and that moment was the beginning of it, because it helped me to put myself in a stage where I'm continuously challenging myself, so that the next time something like that happens, you best believe I'm capitalizing. But to put simply, I really wanted to make this video to just be authentic with you guys, to show you that failures do happen in this field. And when you fail, it's not a sign that you should stop. It's a sign to keep going and keep growing. Because if you stop, all the work you did prior is pretty useless. So to those of you that are just beginning, keep going, keep learning. These things are gonna make sense to you later on. They're gonna click, you're gonna understand it. Just keep going. I promise to you it's gonna get easier. Not only that, please be honest with yourself about the level that you are at. I can truly say that I am a beginner. That is why I am called the novice. as much as I've learned that there is so much more that I have to learn. I guess that's the beginning of wisdom, learning that you don't know it all. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to support me, I ask for a subscribe, just something to support me, show that you like the videos, show that you like who I am. I need validation. I thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you in the next video.